Okay, how's your toy truck looking? Did you get all the way around the outside of your truck? I'll tell you, the treads on the wheels were a barrel of laughs. But anyway, what I now want to do is I want to save this path and I want to get this file out of Photoshop and into InDesign, and then I want to show you some neat clipping path effects over inside InDesign. So we have the path created here on the toy truck. I'm going to go and open up Photoshop's Paths palette. So up to the window menu and then down to Paths as we did earlier. There's my work path. Now, to save my path, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Paths palette menu and choose Save Path, and it prompts me for a name. You can leave this guy as Path 1 and just click on OK. Oftentimes, that's usually what I do, but here for you, I will call this Blue Toy Truck. Okay, there we go. Click on OK. Wonderful stuff. Now, make sure to save your file, Command S or Control S. And don't forget, this file is a Photoshop document, a .psd file, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to head to InDesign, and I already have InDesign running in the background here. I already had it launched. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to insert a text frame into InDesign first here, and then I'm going to throw in some dummy text, and then we'll get our graphic into the InDesign file. So all I did here is I just created a blank 8.5 by 11 file inside InDesign. If you have InDesign installed on your computer, go ahead and launch it. Go ahead and create a brand new blank 8.5 by 11 document. I'm going to grab my type tool in InDesign just by hitting the T key, and then I'm going to keep this really kind of down and dirty. I'm going to drag out a quick text frame like this, and then I'll head to the type menu inside InDesign, and then all the way down to fill with placeholder text. In other words, just throw junk in there so we have something to look at, right? Now I'm going to go back to my black arrow tool here, and I'll deselect. And then now what I want to do is I want to import trucks.psd into my InDesign file, and I want to be able to grab that clipping path out of the Photoshop file. So I'm going to head to the File menu. This is all InDesign, right? Into the File menu inside InDesign, down to Place. Into my Project Files folder, I'm going to go and look for Trucks in here somewhere. There he is, trucks.psd. I'll click on Open. I get my loaded icon in InDesign. I'll just single click. And you might be a little bit disappointed. You're going, oh, there's all three trucks. All I wanted was the blue truck. Well, we have to tell InDesign to use the path that you and I just saved inside the Photoshop Paths panel, right? How do you do that? Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to head to the Object menu. I still have my imported graphic selected, by the way. Object menu, all the way down to Clipping Path, and then over to Options. That brings us into this dialog box, the Clipping Path dialog box in InDesign. From the Type menu, I'm going to choose Photoshop Path. Which Photoshop path? Well, I've only got one of them, the blue toy truck. So in other words, what's happening here is InDesign is pulling in the paths panel, if you will, when I choose Photoshop path. It's reading everything that we've saved in the paths panel. So, you know, what we could do is we could have a path, one for each of our toys here, and we could choose which toy we want to have available inside our InDesign layout. Pretty cool. All right, so it's blue toy truck that I want. Just for fun here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on preview. I want to see what it would look like if I did use the blue toy truck path. There it is. There's the path coming from Photoshop through into the InDesign layout. I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. We're looking good here. I'll head back to the black arrow tool. I'm going to grab my frame here, and I want to reduce down the size of my graphic frame here. So I'll just kind of squeeze things up here a little bit. Pretty cool stuff, isn't it? It's pretty awesome. Once you start working not only with paths, but you start working with your different Creative Suite programs together, you can really do some cool things. So let's say, for example, I want to have my document set up in such a way so that the blue truck is in the sort of in the top right corner coming down into the document, and I want to have the text wrap around the contour of the toy truck. Remember, way back when, that's what I was after, right? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure that the truck is selected. Obviously, the background and the other toy trucks are gone, so it is reading that path. I'm going to head to the window menu now, and then down to text wrap. into InDesign's text wrap panel, this fella right here, and I want to wrap text around the contour of my object. So I'm going to click on this guy, wrap around object shape. There we are. Now I have the text running around the toy truck, the contour, I guess you could say, of the toy truck. And I can increase the distance between the truck and the text if I want, just by using this field here, or reduce it down, something like that. Really depends on, whatever I'm after there. I'm going to go with something like that. There we are. I'm going to hit the W key here so we can get a preview of what our file would look like if we printed it out there. What's cool here too is I can always manipulate this stuff just by dragging my toy truck around a little bit, and you'll see that the text automatically adjusts itself. Maybe something like that is what I want. Maybe I got to do a little bit more manipulation, but I'm sure you get the idea. So there you go. There's another application of the pen tool in the real world. There's a bunch of different ways that you can use the pen tool, but I at least wanted to show you clipping paths here between Photoshop and InDesign. And of course, earlier you saw how to create selections using the paths and the pen tool inside Photoshop. So keep at it. You can do some amazing things with the pen tool in Photoshop.